Hi, folks. So, um, tonight's discussion, thoughts, is on change brings opportunity. And whilst we may understand that, we also have a natural tendency to resist change. And I've worked for many organizations over my working career of 30 odd years. I've worked for large educational departments and organizations. I've worked for medium-sized enterprises. I've worked for small companies, and I've worked as a sole trader, and I've been self-employed. And all of those things sometimes require a new way of doing something. And the further up the corporate ladder you go, of course, the more people that have to get involved with the change, and the more meetings they are, and the duller these sort of things get. But at the end of the day, whether it's a large corporation or an individual sole trader, the idea is that by implementing some form of change, you are hoping to get a good result from it. You're hoping that things are going to improve. And therefore, that means on an individual basis, something about what I'm doing has to change. Now, in the corporate world, or working for an employer, we know, we must have all been there at some point where you've got your practice, you know what you're doing, you do it day in, day out, and then they say, right, as of Monday, that's stopping. You'll no longer be doing that. We're going to be doing this instead because it's going to bring these results. And in offices and work canteens or colleagues getting together, there's always resistance. No, things are good as they are. And why is that? Why? Because we get comfortable. We get comfortable in what we are doing. We know what we're doing. We no longer have to think about it. And, or if we do have to think as part of our job, we know where our brain thought is going to take us. As soon as that change is implemented, we have to be in a learning curve to get ourselves comfortable with it. And that is what, as human beings, we don't like to do. We don't like this. Very few of us actually like change. And we're sort of torn between, okay, I can see this will have a benefit, but how do I get there? How do I go through this bell curve that I need to go through, where it is no longer fearful or scary to do that? And then, of course, you're listening to the person who does not, under any circumstance, want to change. And you sort of have meetings with them, and you sit down and discuss with them and try and bring them round and try and sell this new idea to them. And they'll always come up with a reason or an excuse, and they'll be able to throw spanners in the works. Spanners you never even considered were possible. And therefore, what do we do with these individuals? And my past experience has seen employees lose their jobs from not adapting to change because they are unable to accept it, or they are unable to change what they have to do to work within those systems. And excuse me, somebody said on my post about change leads to positivity, or words to that effect, that is not always the case. And it depends on the person who's implementing the change. We see change every day within the political arena. The government of the day wants to implement something that they believe will make life better for us, without being cynical, of course. And if a law is used to back that change, then we have to work within it. Otherwise, we're breaking the law. And I was trying to think of a good example of these opportunities that change brings. And in 2007, it became illegal to smoke within the workplace in the UK. So that also meant pubs and clubs and social places, you could no longer smoke within. Now, of course, all the smokers have a lot of adapting to do, standing outside doorways and all this sort of thing. But what happened was somebody saw the positivity in this as a business opportunity. And what did they do? They created outside patio areas for the smokers. And, new like bus stop things shelters were built to give smokers some shelter from the weather. So I'd look forward to seeing your comments of where something has been implemented and somebody else has brought something new to the marketplace to make that change better. So as far as we're concerned on an individual level, whether it is a legally binding change or just something that we want to change, we have to go through this process of looking at what the end result will be. And I see it a lot with my clients who are dieting, and that could be to gain weight, to gain muscle, to lose weight, to get thinner, whatever it may be, just to get healthier. And they look at where they are now and they are happy, they're comfortable in this place. They can go into a supermarket, they don't have to think about what's going in the basket, they know the stuff they like, boom, they know how much it's going to cost, away they go. Soon as I get involved and I'm telling them that they can never have this and they can't have that and they can have the other, every aspect of that shopping trip, which took just 10 minutes or half an hour or whatever, now is going to take double that time, because they have to read labels, they have to look at this, can I have this, is it on a list, no it's not on a list, it has to go back, yeah that can go in, that goes back, etc, etc, etc. And that's what we don't like. And then it becomes, I've tried this and it doesn't work. And it's at that point that we have to try and nurture people and keep them focused on why they agreed to the change in the first place. Now, I'm not holding myself up as somebody who likes change. I don't particularly. I like being comfortable and I like knowing what's what and whatever. And yeah, sure, when I worked in corporate, I was one of those that, we have to implement this, which means less teaching and more paperwork and all that sort of stuff. So on those sorts of levels, yeah, I was one of the many that said, no, I don't like change. I can't see this being a positive for the students. All it is a positive for somebody in admin to justify their job. So we have to get creative. We have to stick through it. And this is where my 90-day game plan comes into play. In that, by breaking it down, making things small and simple, and maybe combining a few elements into 1 or 2 points, because you don't want a list of 10 things that you have to implement every single day. So it's better if you can just do 1 or 2 key points that will ultimately take you across the 90 days to something that will equal a result at the end of it. And this is why I'm asking for people to join me in this book that I'm writing about, about getting that change through. If you feel you've got an Achilles heel, remember I called it before your kryptonite. Have you got a kryptonite that's stopping you? You try something, you've got change, and you keep hitting the wall. You can't get through it. Well, if that's you, then I want to work with you. There's no cost to you at all. In fact, I'll be giving rewards out, so there's bonuses. But I want to work with people who have this wall, but who want to get over it, who want to get around the wall. If you're just going to say no, no, no to everything I say, when I say go around the wall, then no, I don't want you. So if you're willing to change and get to that result, but something is in the way, then that is the resistance to the change and not you. And that's going to be the key difference. So I'm going to be able to give you the tools to work around something. So change equals, in your mindset, something positive. And that is what we have to remember. Try and not focus on that resistance. We don't want that resistance. We're going to get through the resistance and we're going to get to the end goal. Okay? So let's think about what you want to change. I still need a couple of people to work with me. I've spoken to some already who weren't suitable, so that's cleared up a few spaces, etc. And but please send me a private message and I'll work with you over a 90-day period. And that's going to include the summer. So, you know, you have to be aware of that. When the weather gets good and people are out in barbecues and having a drink and all the rest of it, you know, you're going to be sticking to your plan. I'm not scaring people off, but it's the reality, because a diet is for a period of time. We diet from here to get to here. And then when we get here, we go back to what we normally did. By changing our lifestyle, that never ends. That disappears. It starts here and it continues. And you will become a better version of you. And that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want for people. So a positive outcome can come from change. So I'll leave it there today. Please have a think. Send me an email. A private message. And I'll be uploading this to YouTube. So for my YouTube followers, like and subscribe. And also, you know, if you want to get involved in this, then, you know, send me a message. And I'll speak to you tomorrow. Okay, folks. Bye for now.